Hey Wes, it is May. We are in the month of May now.
It don't feel like it.
Not today. Not today. It does not feel like it. It's we've been having some pretty good weather, nice warm weather,
Right.
and all of a sudden it was like, ooh, I got to bring some of my pepper plants in the house, bring them back in for the next few days because it's not going to get, I mean, the nighttime I have to kind of watch it because peppers don't like to get below 50 degrees, so.
Right.
I've had to bring them in for the overnights, but it's like, you know what? I'm probably just going to leave them in for the next 3 days. I'll just leave them inside. No sense in bringing them out and back and forth like that. I'm just going to leave them in for the next few days.
Mm-hmm.
But summer is up and running and rolling, and eventually in a couple more days it's going to be back to being summertime again.
I hope so.
So it's it's good. Garden's starting to grow.
Yeah.
Starting to see all the the grapevines are getting ready to start. You can start seeing the little clusters that are going to be the grapes. Even
Nice.
the blackberry trellis is getting full now, and you're starting to see where all the blackberries are going to be coming up.
Sweet.
That's my favorite time of year right here. It's like, oh man.
Getting ready to get busy.
A couple months from now, I'll be eating grapes. I'll be eating fresh blackberries, blueberries, raspberries.
Nice.
And I have certain cigars that go good with that.
Yeah.
I smoke I smoke those CAO Brazilias, are one of my absolute favorite cigars. And, and they're cheap. They're not even that, when I say cheap, they're less than $10.
Right.
So it's like, it's a great deal. And again, I like it's got that Brasilia wrapper on there, and it's a good Maduro cigar. So they, the longer they sit in the humidor, the better and smoother they get.
Mm-hmm.
Buy a box, throw it in there. By the time you're done smoking them last ones, they've been in there a good, for me, because I smoke different cigars all the time. A box of cigars will last me probably, I don't know, anywhere from 6 months to a year probably. A lot of them a year. So by the time you're smoking them, last couple of them, oh my God, they taste so
I bet.
fucking good. And there's nothing better than smoking one of those CAO Brasilia cigars and eating fresh blackberries off the vine. I love lighting one of those up, and I'll walk over to the vine and just, kind of look around. I like to walk the gardens anyway, and man, just puff it on one of those and then throw some of those blackberries, eat some of them blackberries, and then oh my God, the pear's so good with that. So good. Now today I'm actually smoking Man of War. It's the Armada.
Okay.
This is the higher end on the Man of War cigars. It's AJ Fernandez, and it's so it's typical AJ Fernandez. You're going to get a spicy cigar. It's going to be, usually medium to full.
Right.
These are definitely a full. It's a powerhouse of a cigar. Again, I like a lot of AJ stuff because he tries to keep it affordable for the working man.
Mm-hmm.
But yet super good blends and everything else. This has got the Sumatra wrapper.
Okay.
An Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. I think I saw some with Oscuro as well. I don't know, but it's either way, it's an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper.
Yeah.
And then Nicaraguan fillers and binders and stuff, which is kind of typical of AJ Fernandez.
Right.
But this is a good cigar, and for a full-bodied cigar, it's still approachable to me.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of it as being a 100%. I mean, that's how they label it. To me, it's a little bit more medium to full, but I don't know. I just lit it up. I like to get in a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, even these right off the bat, because I mean, you may pay close to $20 a stick for these. It's so smooth compared to what you think it's going to be. Even though it's got the spice, it's got a little bit more of like a vanilla, almost like a coffee. That coffee vanilla. Okay. If you used a vanilla creamer in your coffee, it's kind of got that kind of a flavor to it. To me, it's not overpowering at all. This happens to be a big cigar.
It is a big cigar.
I don't remember, but I mean, it's a Churchill, so it's a big old cigar. Like I said, I had no intentions of smoking a big cigar today, but I thought, why not? It just looked good, When I look through my humidor, I do it all the time because I've got a couple different humidors. Mm-hmm. Got some out here. I got one out here in the studio. Got the other one, in the other room. So A lot of times when I'm coming out here, I'll look through the other humidor and I'll see a cigar I like, I'll grab it. Then I walk out here to the studio.
Yeah.
And I'll look inside the other humidor. Sometimes I go ahead and smoke the one I brought out. Other times I see something else that's like, no, that got my attention. No, I think this is what I want. And that's why there's certain cigars I buy boxes of.
Yeah.
I always buy a box of the Brazilias. I always buy boxes of the Mark Twain.
Yeah.
The Maduros. And then if I see certain boxes that are on special, you know what I mean? So I know I've got a box of Torontos. I got a box of Monte Cristos. A box of Guy Fieri's Knuckle Sandwich. Him and Eric Espinoza made. So I mean, I do buy boxes when I get a good deal on them. When I get a good price. I mean, my knuckle sandwiches that I got, those Guy Fieri knuckle sandwiches, are the Habano wrapper, and it's a Corona, so it's a smaller cigar. But when the dude at the cigar shop, when I told him what I paid for them, he couldn't believe it. He's like, dude, I can't buy them for that price. He goes, I don't know how you got that price. So when I get a good deal, I'll buy the boxes.
Right.
But for the most part, I'm buying them in bundles, or I'm buying sampler packets, you know, where you get a sampler. That's how I got this one here. It was just an AJ Fernandez special. It was like, I think, 30 or 35 cigars.
Jeez.
That were in this, you know, for like $129. So for $130, I'm getting 35 cigars.
Right.
And again, it was not El Cheapo cigars. It's not your Cuban sandwiches. It's not your factory smokes or you know, it's like, and so I saw that deal. I was like, well, I got to do that. And like I said, this is one. There were several Man of Wars that were in that. It was all AJ Fernandez stuff. So a lot of Diesel. Several of the Diesel brands. Ava Maria, because those are all AJ cigars.
I like those.
So yeah, it was all good cigar. I mean, every one of them was like, tag on, these are all premium cigars. So that's how I got this one here. Nice. Again, I know it's more the higher end one.
Yeah.
And with all that said, I don't know that I like it that much more than all the other ones that I smoked.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? The other Man of Wars or the Diesels or whatever. They're all pretty comparable. This is a good cigar, don't get me wrong. But to me, so are the other ones. Even at the cheaper price, they still hold up to...
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I'm just pairing it with a root beer today.
Yeah.
Sometimes we shoot these a little earlier in the day. And it's like, you know...
A little early for alcohol.
Not really ready for any of that, so...
And it's a cool rainy day. It's not a day drinking kind of day.
No, not unless you're really sad.
Right. Well, speaking of AJ Fernandez, I actually am smoking. I think I've smoked one of these before on the podcast. The Diesel Whiskey Row.
Love them.
And they have two different ones. They've got this one, which is the bourbon, and then they have the
sherry cask.
Yeah, sherry cask. And it's a toss-up for me because I've had both of them now. And I think it really just depends on what you're drinking, what you're feeling, you know, the day. Yeah, because they both have their own, I don't know what you'd call that.
They definitely got their own different flavor notes.
Yes, they definitely have different flavor notes.
It does make a difference, the different barrels that they age them in.
Right.
You know, Whiskey Row just came out with a brand new one. Well, it was for the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
And it was called, what was it called? The Race King. The Race King blend, and it was with Rabbit Hole.
Right.
And it was a certain one of their barrels. You know, I can't imagine how they do all that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, his factory is all the way over in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
He's getting barrels from way over here in Kentucky, and then sending them over there. I don't know how customs works, you know, in all these different places, but you would think it'd be hard to get whiskey barrels or
Yeah.
that kind of, I don't know. But yeah, he gets those barrels, brings them all the way out there. Then he ages everything in it, and the binder leaf is how they do that. So I haven't tried any of his limited edition ones. He's got several of them, but I did try the Sherry Cast. Finally, was the last one of the Whiskey Rows I've smoked, and I'd smoked the other ones. Always loved them.
Yeah.
I was kind of afraid to try the sherry one. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I wouldn't drink sherry, so
right.
I don't know that I'd want to try.
I really like the flavors on it.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I might like this even more. I don't know.
It has the Sherry Cast has just a little bit of sweetness to it, and it's on the end. It's like you don't get it at the beginning. That sweetness is on the end, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it has a very sweet finish.
Yes.
A very nice, not a very sweet, but I mean a very nice.
Yes, a very nice sweet finish.
Not overly powering or by any means. I don't smoke that many sweet cigars, although I do like the Maduros, and the Maduros are kind of a sweeter wrapper. But yeah, so you're smoking AJ as well.
Yep, it's an AJ day, I guess.
Apparently.
I honestly don't remember what the wrapper binder is on this.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I could look it up real quick.
Whiskey Rose, I'm not sure.
This one is the Whiskey Row, the bourbon one. To me, it's perfect. Kind of like the Kentucky Fire from Drew Estates. It'd be perfect if you're sitting around a campfire and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was looking at the different cigars for the Kentucky Derby. Just out of curiosity, and I knew that AJ's, his limited edition for Diesel would be on there.
Yeah.
But I didn't know Monte Cristo. They make a cigar specifically for the Kentucky Derby.
Really?
Yeah. You could actually, if you went to the Kentucky Derby, you could actually buy them there at the place. I mean,
well, that's cool.
They make them in a box, and it's got the Kentucky Derby right on it and everything else. I thought, dear God, I can't even imagine how much a box of those would cost. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Monte Cristo. I love that. There's a bunch of their cigars. They're what was it called? Grand Exhibition.
Yeah. That was a cool looking cigar.
But they, the one I have is the batch 23, so it's a small batch, kind of a limited edition. And they, oh my God, they're one of my absolute favorites, and it's a Connecticut wrapper. I know a buddy of mine. He that's all he smokes is Connecticut wrappers. He likes a very mellow cigar.
Yeah.
And I gave him one of these last weekend. We all got together, and he came up from Kentucky, and I was like, well, here, try this. He's like, man, it's kind of a dark cigar. I said, it's a dark wrapper, but it's a Connecticut. He said, that's too dark to be a Connecticut wrapper. I said, trust me, it's a Connecticut wrapper. It's not too bad. I think you're gonna find it to be, And he got done smoking that, and he goes, man, I got to tell you what. He said, I can't believe it. He said, I did not think I was gonna like that cigar.
That's funny.
He said it was too dark for me, but he said, man, that thing burned perfect. I never had to touch it up one time. He said it stayed smooth throughout. He said I smoked it down lower than I smoke any other cigar.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's pretty cool. But I've gotten to where I really enjoyed the mild cigars. I mean, I'm always smoking
you
these.
Used to only smoke the spicy stuff.
And it got to the point where everything started tasting the same to me.
Yeah.
And I was watching, I don't know if it was Cigars Daily, I don't know if it was Holt Cigar Company. I watched several of those on YouTube.
Yeah.
They have their own YouTube stuff. Cigars Daily is funny. They're the complete opposite sides of the spectrum. Cigars Daily is just a bunch of knuckleheads like you and I, laughing, joking, making corny jokes, lighting up cigars, la. And then Holt,
super
cigars,
serious.
Very serious, suit and tie
Yes.
to the T.
Yeah.
I mean, beautiful surroundings. They're in their nice big leather chairs and all that kind of stuff. But I like watching both of them because I like to get both perspectives of it.
Right.
And it was one of those shows I was watching, and they made the comment that was actually a question that they had gotten from somebody. It's like, they all taste the same anymore. What do you do? And they're like, you destroyed your palate by smoking nothing but strong cigars. They said,
right.
Get you some good Connecticut wrapped, mellow, mild cigars, and start going back to that. And he said, just kind of change it up a little bit. And one thing they said, you might find that you enjoy a mild cigar periodically or at certain times of the day. And I have found that for me, a lot of times if I'm coming out in the evening after dinner, when everybody else wants their big, strong, hard cigar, dude, I light up one of those Monte Cristo Grand Exhibitions. Nice Canadian or nice Connecticut wrapper. God, it's just perfect. It's nice. It's mellow, but yet has tons of flavor. And so that's what I did. And so now I do smoke a lot more of the mellow cigars.
Yeah, you do. You smoke quite a variety now. The Diesel Whiskey Row has a Ecuador Habano wrapper.
Okay.
And a Mexican binder and Nicaraguan fillers.
Huh.
So
the Mexican binder, so it's a San Andreas binder that's been aged in the whiskey barrel.
The whiskey barrel.
Okay. Well, no wonder it tastes so good. What do you got it paired with?
Just a cream soda today. Just a good old cream soda. It's a little sweet though. I don't know.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. Got your beard oil in?
You know what? My beard looks, feels, and smells sensational.
Sensational.
Yes, it does. You know why?
Badass beard care.
That's right. Badass beard care. Veteran owned and American made.
It's it's the best beard product ever. I don't even have oil in today, but I use the beard wash. And it is amazing how soft that beard wash makes your beard. Because every time I start thinking, maybe I should just go ahead and trim the beard down and do, go over, do a do-over. And I put that stuff in, it's like, I can't cut it. I can't do it.
Yeah, they got it all, man. They got all sorts of hair product, along with the oils and the balms and all that stuff. They do a good job.
They've got really cool apparel and hats. They got deodorant. Their deodorant is literally some of the best deodorant I've ever had. Because I know I'm not a teenager or nothing anymore, but I've always had really bad BO. And I could never find a deodorant that would actually last all day long. And their deodorant still smells as good when I'm going to bed as when I put it on in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't tried any of that yet. All I can testify to is the wash, the beard wash, and the oil. Because I've never used the balm either. I've never used any kind of balm ever. I've just always used the oil. But once I got a hold of that, Chuck's Hog Wash, I was like, oh my gosh. It's just everything. Even my hair on my head just looks so much better. It it feels better. It looks thicker. And when you're old and thinning, if it makes it look thicker, you like it.
Right. So yeah, check out Badass Beard Care. Use the special link in the description for the episode. When you get there, get to the checkout screen, put in Steel Horse for the discount code, and that's going to give you 10% off. And by using that link, it gives us a kickback on that purchase.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So we make a little bit off of that. Win-win. Everybody wins.
Yep.
Everybody wins. About to let my cigar go out again.
Oh, man.
Well, we started something up in April. It's taking off a little slowly.
Yeah, a little slower than I thought it was going to.
A little slower. But I want to try it. I want to give it a good try throughout the summer and everything else. If by the time we roll around to September, October, we start getting towards the end of the year and it hasn't taken off, then obviously we'll try and we'll revamp and we'll find something different to try.
Right.
Many people do Patreon page. Many people do, all that stuff. We elected to do a thing called the Steel Horse Thunder Posse. And it's just a separate Facebook page. And it's more of a private page to where you become a member. You subscribe to it. It's $4.99 a month, and maybe that's too expensive. I didn't think $5 a month was that expensive.
I didn't think so either.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to check that out. But it was a page kind of to help us. Everybody that joins that page is $5 a month. That helps us with our production costs, helps us with all the stuff we do.
Right.
But in my mind, there would be a lot of people that would join on that, and then people could post their own rides on that page. You can post your own flyers on that page. It can become a nice big motorcycle hub for anybody that rides motorcycles. You become part of that page. You can start advertising your stuff on there and help get the word out with other, you know, and that was my whole thoughts, was how this was going to work. Now I know, you know, it's been up for about a month and we have maybe 10 or 11 members, and that's it. And obviously it's not going to do anybody any good if that's all that's on there.
Right.
You know, the whole purpose of it was so you could help broadcast more of your own stuff. And obviously if there's only 10 members on there, you're not going to be able to broadcast it to too many people.
No, I mean, it kind of stinks because it, like you said, our idea was this is going to become a motorcycle network for Indiana. That way, if you're, you know, say you're in Fishers and you got a ride and you post it on there, maybe somebody down in Bedford sees it and is like, you know, that'd be pretty cool to be able to take a ride up there and go on a ride up there with someone. Because if you're not in that area, you're probably not going to see that. And vice versa, you know, for people up north to come down south to the better roads of Indiana.
most of southern Indiana is really good. You have to be pretty selective in northern Indiana.
Yeah, there are some good roads up in northern Indiana, but they're very far and few between compared to southern Indiana. Ooh.
Let that sucker up this time. By golly.
But yeah, I mean, $4.99. You get at the top of the Steel Horse Thunder page. There you got the like button, and what used to be the follow button is now the subscribe button. You hit subscribe, bring you up to the screen explaining what you get. You get to be part of the Posse member page. You're going to get some free stuff such as stickers, patches, things like that along the way. A private party that's only for subscribers. I don't remember what else we put in there. But you know, there's some perks to it, as well as being the biggest part being able to be on that page.
And we're going to be posting some certain things are going to go to that page, and it won't ever go on the regular Steel Horse Thunder page.
Yeah, you're only going to see them on there. Page. Yeah, outtakes, little clips from different things we cover, behind the scenes stuff. So I thought it was a really good idea. I thought it was really cool. Something that was going to be unique. Yeah. Hopefully it takes off. I know there's been a lot of groups want to know if like the whole group can join as one, and I know it has to be a personal page. You can't use like my Cameraman Wes page cannot subscribe to that page. It has to be a personal Facebook page.
Gotcha.
So it cannot be a business page or a group page, something like that. I mean, as much as we would like everybody from all the groups to join, if they're only wanting one member, you know, maybe your president join or the club treasurer or something like that, somebody that's going to be very interactive to be able to relay messages. It'd be nice if the whole groups would join. That way the whole community is there. But
yeah. So that's a good point, though. It has to be a personal page.
Yes.
So technically, like Steel Horse Thunder's page could not join and be a member of that.
Right.
I mean, obviously we're administrators.
Right.
But so if you have, say, the Outsiders have their own Facebook page, they wouldn't be able to go on as the Outsiders.
No.
They would have to click on either as Gino, the president, or, you know, one of those guys or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought I mean, it just sounded like a fantastic idea. I thought to me, this is much better than doing just a Patreon page because you get a lot more for your money, I felt like, with this. And I don't know, maybe there's a reason I was a sawmill, dry kiln operator for 25 years for a career, and not a social media network guru.
It's only been up for a month, so we'll keep pushing it. If you're watching on YouTube right now, or listening on Spotify or any of the other channels or whatever the heck they're called,
right? Platforms.
If you're listening anywhere, if you want to see what it's all about, go to Facebook, type in Steel Horse Thunder in the search bar, and just look it all up. You can see everything that's involved. If you hit subscribe and you don't want to actually go into it, you can still hit subscribe and see, what you get, all that.
Gotcha.
And then if you do decide you don't want to do it, you just hit the back button. It's not going to charge you or anything like that.
Okay, cool. So you'd be able to look at it. So, yeah, and I felt like Facebook was proper only because I do know more of the older people are on Facebook as opposed to, I know you got Twitter or X, whatever. X. You got X now, and you have Instagram and all that stuff. And I know a lot of the younger people, a lot of people use that. All your celebrities and all that stuff all use all those things. I don't use that as much.
Right.
I know we did some stuff on TikTok for a while. Then all we heard was how TikTok was, the root of all evil.
Right.
And where that was getting banned, and no way they were going to allow that.
Yeah.
So we didn't really continue with the TikTok. And then, of course, obviously, it's still there.
It's still there. So
still doing
we might join up on that.
And then I realized, the reason they all say it's communist is because they allow you to say whatever you want to say. They don't censor. It's like, the last time I checked, censorship was communist, not freedom of speech.
Right.
So I'm a little off on that, but who am I? Dry kiln operator for 25 years.
Yeah, I know our show's demographic is not technically, tends to be 40 and older, basically.
Yeah.
We have some younger people that are part of the motorcycle community that do join, but for the most part, I know our demographic is 40 plus, and basically 80% of those are Facebook.
Exactly.
So Facebook is our number one hit. Most of the people that we cater to tend to be on Facebook.
Yep. I know when we do our Facebook Lives, those always go very well. We get a lot of people joining us on Facebook Live. A lot of views on that, which has become a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. For most people, that's the show.
There are people, they talk about, love your show every Monday, and I'm like, okay, that's just a Monday Night Live. A show is that we actually air on YouTube every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock is when you can find the show. Or it's a podcast. Or it's a podcast. Like, well, we do have a podcast. It's called Steel Horse Thunder and Beyond. We do those. We only do 2 a month, but, we try to do 2 a month.
Right.
But, yeah, somehow or another, Monday Night Live has become the thing. Whether it's our show, it's our podcast, it's our, live, it's whatever. That's the main thing that we got going right now.
Yep. And it's funny because when we made all these changes to do just social media and everything, I'm like, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have the show so people can go to YouTube, watch the show. We're going to have the podcast. It's going to be on all the different platforms. Then we're going to have our Monday Night Live, like the news. We cover what we did on the weekend, what's coming up in the next week or two. That's like our news. And somehow that became the fastest growing part of it.
It is funny. It has definitely become the thing. This coming Monday, we're going to be going live at the Groggy Goat Taproom in Indiana, Martinsville, Indiana, and that's become a new thing. And so now the first Monday of Mondays and months, I get those mixed up all the time. So the first Monday of every month, we do our live broadcast from there, from the Groggy Goat Taproom. It's adjacent to the Greek's Pizzeria there on the square in Martinsville, Indiana.
Yep.
Martinsville, Indiana is about a half hour south of Indianapolis. Just for people that aren't quite familiar with the area, it's considered south central Indiana. We're 30 miles south of Indianapolis, about 15 miles north of Bloomington, which is where IU, Indiana University, is at. Martinsville's a cool little town. I'm trying to think. I think the town is population about 22,000, I think.
Something like that. I know whatever census they did in 2020, it really screwed up the population of Martinsville. It really is like 22 to 24,000. I know it shows a lot less than that now for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's growing fast now.
I always said 18,000, and then I thought it went up to about 22 or so. But it's a small town, and they got the square. You know, you're right on the square. You got the big courthouse right in the middle. It's kind of cool place. They have places like the Candy Kitchen, which is over 100 years old.
Right.
Arguably, the first candy cane ever made was in that.
That's what they say.
And that's arguable, but they are part of that argument, which is kind of cool. But
it is really cool to go in and watch them making the candy canes.
It is cool. You also got Gillespie's Cigar Bar upstairs, which is like stepping back into the 1930s.
Right.
It's the way they've got the decor in there and everything else, and you have your nice big plush leather seats that you can sit in, your coffee tables, and they got the big walk-in humidor to choose from. Cigars all over, and then they have the bar area. So if you'd rather sit at the bar, you can sit right at the bar and have your ashtray.
Santos will make you whatever you want.
So it's and they have craft beer on tap. They have regular beer. It's just a fantastic place. I know Javier is in the process right now with he's putting a nice steakhouse.
Yep. Was it 1815?
Something like that. 1815,
I think it's
1915, whatever.
One of the 15s.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. They're getting pretty close. The outside looks amazing.
I talked with him last week, and he said he was hoping by July that they could actually be open as early as July.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, there's so many cool places on the square. And there's an Italian restaurant there most people don't even know about.
Right. Yeah, a lot of eateries there now. You have a lot of choices. I ran into somebody and they said something about, it's the only bad thing about working here in Martinsville. They had ordered and the what are those to-go people that come and get your food and bring it to you?
Uber Eats and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the guy was delivering, it was Chili's. And they were like, it's the only drawback to being in Martinsville. One restaurant to choose from. I was like, one restaurant to choose from? It's like maybe Chili's. I mean,
name brand chain, maybe.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, all right, it's there's a Chili's here, and you have a Golden or a Texas Corral steakhouse right next to Chili's.
Right.
But then it's like, oh my God, you got 4 Mexican restaurants in this little town.
Right.
And I'm thinking, just on the square alone, you have an Italian restaurant. You got the Greek's Pizzeria. You got Come and Get It, which is home cooked style meals.
Main Street Bar and Grill.
Main Street Bar and Grill. You got Gather Round Barbecue.
Yeah.
Right off the square, just a block off of the square. One of the Mexican restaurants is right there on the square, like you said. The Italian restaurant, getting ready to be the steakhouse, which is going to be like 2 blocks off the square.
Right.
So all of it.
There's a lot right on the square.
And I just remember thinking, you only saw one restaurant in this entire town? It's like, dear Lord, they're all over the place now.
Yeah, I mean, over by Walmart, you got Chili's, Texas Corral, Wings, etc.
And then, of course, you have all your fast food places.
Yeah,
You got your Taco Bell's, McDonald's, Burger King, Dairy Queen, Wendy's.
Yeah.
Well, they even have one of those, what's the Butterburger people?
Oh, yeah. Culver's.
Culver's. Yeah. There's even a Culver's in Martinsville. There's a Culver's in Martinsville. Then you have like Indi's, which is more of a
breakfast place. I mean, they have lunch and dinner there too, but they do specialized breakfast.
Their breakfast is their main thing.
Yes.
Their breakfast is fantastic.
Yeah. If you're going to go there on Sunday, you better be there early, because there's no parking on Sundays.
We went there last Sunday.
Oh, did you?
Our friends were up from Kentucky. We went, and so they said they were going to be getting up around 8 o'clock. I said, all right. I said, yeah, we can run over there. I said, they get really busy on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And we got there, and there was no waiting. They sat down, and like, yeah, I thought you said this was going to be busy. I said, I'm a lot earlier than what I normally am. I said, a little while here. I said, this place, I said, you'll see cars parked on the road, off the side of the road to get in here. And sure enough, by the time we left, the place was packed. They had a big long waiting line to get his table, and so yeah, tons of stuff to do in the town of Martinsville. So I love the fact that doing our Monday Night Live from there, to me, is kind of a historical kind of place to begin with.
Oh yeah,
and then the Groggy Goat is just, I mean, Kyler is just so on board with motorcyclists and stuff like that. So he's so super excited about it. So like I said, the first Monday of every month, that's where you're going to find us at. It's live it's at 7 p.m. Every Monday. And that's when we get the information out. What rides we covered the weekend before, what rides we're going to cover this coming weekend. And then, it gives people an opportunity that are there. We can have them hop on board with us, and then they talk about the ride they got coming up in the next week or two or whatever. And it was just a riot. There were a ton of people, packed the place out. The place was full Monday, and a lot of people came out for our very first Monday Night Live there in April.
I was surprised because it was a chilly evening. It wasn't like it was super warm or nothing. And to have that many people come out, being the first time doing it there.
Yeah, and quite a few people drove their car, and that's unheard of. Anytime I've ever put any kind of event together, and it's like, hey, this is not a motorcycle event. Yes, it's Steel Horse Thunder, but it's December, so obviously we're going to be in our cars, and then have 1,000 people tell me, well, yeah, it was just too cold. I couldn't ride.
You have more than just a motorcycle.
Do you tell your boss that every day at work in the winter? You just not show up all winter long? Say, oh, no, it's just too cold to ride. No, you hop in your truck or you hop in your car and you take that. It's like, yeah, we used to do the Halloween thing. We used to have the Halloween party every year. And so many people, oh, it's just too cold. Just too cold to ride. There's no way I could ride my motorcycle. Yeah, nobody rode their motorcycle. Everybody showed up in cars and trucks.
Right.
It is funny.
It is.
It is funny. It's like that same vehicle you use every day of the winter to get to work and back, or to get to the store and back, or to go to church and back. That's the same vehicle you could have used.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, Groggy Goat, Martinsville, first Monday of every month. Doing that Facebook Live there. A lot of fun. Again, we got another one getting ready to come up now. And, again, we got rain. We've got cold weather. So, we'll see. I mean, Indiana's kind of iffy that way. And usually not until June before you really start getting your, June you're going to get hot. And then July is going to be hot. And August is going to be hot. And usually September's pretty darn hot.
Yeah. It doesn't really get cold until the end of October. Halloween could be a toss-up. It could be 90 degrees or it could be 20 degrees.
Yeah, it could be snowing or
or
you could be saying, man, I shouldn't have picked this costume. It's way too hot, way too much to wear.
I know the old saying in Indiana is you don't do any outdoor planning until Mother's Day. You wait until Mother's Day.
Right. Yeah, usually the 15th of May is the last frost day.
Yeah.
So I know as far as gardening goes, you always wait till the 15th before you start planting your summer crops. Right now you're growing all your brassicas and that kind of stuff that like the cold weather. Well, I'll tell you what, this cigar right here,
it's not burning very well.
It is. That's about as wonky as it gets right there. I didn't realize how bad it was. But yeah, that needs a massive touch-up. That was canoeing like crazy. Canoe? Hey, I wonder if anybody remembers that old commercial. Canoe. And that's going back to the 70s right there. Yay.
Yeah, if you ride a motorcycle and you're in central Indiana, you need to make a trip down to Martinsville and, make it a lunch stop or something like that. Walk around the square. There's so much to do on the square. It really is amazing that people try to dog this town so much. And it's like, have you been here in the last 5 to 10 years, because a lot has changed.
Yeah, it's a great destination for a motorcycle. There's all sorts of great ways to get in here.
Yep.
If you're coming from the south, it's still nice roads up to Martinsville. If you're coming from the north, once you get south of Indianapolis, you can find some really nice back roads to take to come down here that are nice. You know, I think about Blue Bluff Road is just as nice of any road that you could possibly ride on. 252 is a nice ride.
44.
44, 67 on the other side.
Yeah.
If you're coming up, I know that's south, but it's basically due west.
Yeah.
But lots of great roads to come down to Martinsville. And you know, the cool part with the Groggy Goat is, even though the Groggy Goat is kind of more of one of those what we used to call shotgun bars.
Yes.
You know, it's just a straight narrow shot back. You know, and you got your bar in the corner, you got your bar rail and all that, and then you have some booths. So it's not super big.
No.
But they had another room the exact same size right upstairs.
Yep.
That they rented out. They used it for different occasions. We may be doing we may have to go up there to do the Monday Night Live, but they have the really nice patio out back. So when the weather gets nice, we'll be out on that patio.
Yeah.
So there's just so much more room.
Yeah.
There than what it looks like just from the window front. You know what I mean?
Right.
Plus, it's part of Greek's Pizzeria.
Yeah.
You know, it's an open walkway from one to the other. And Greek's Pizzeria is big.
Yeah.
That's a huge restaurant.
It's a huge restaurant. Then again, the square's, what, 100 and... It's over 100 years old. Every one of them buildings is over 100 years old. And most of them have now, exposed all the old brick inside and everything. So it's really cool to walk into and see.
Yeah, I remember there was a lady that we knew. She lived to be 100 years old. But it was really cool because on her walls, she had family photos.
Yeah.
Of the family in front of the courthouse. There on the square, dirt roads, hitching posts, the horses hitched up to the post, and them all standing there, of course, and none of them smiling because you weren't allowed to smile.
Right.
Back in those days.
Right.
But yeah, and that's, to me, it was just like, holy cow, this isn't a picture you found at a flea market somewhere.
Right.
That's you. You're standing right there with your mom and your dad getting your picture taken back. I mean, you're talking about, this is when the guy was underneath the hood and the thing went boom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, and to me, it was just so cool. It's like, God, that's a family picture. And to see the courthouse way back when it had just dirt roads around it and stuff, horses hitched up, it's pretty darn cool. Pretty cool. This was a town known for its mineral water.
Yeah.
People came from all over. Yeah, not anymore. I won't even let my dog drink the water.
Right.
But back in the day, I mean, you had big time guy. We're talking Al Capone. We're talking Derringer.
What was his name? Not Derringer. Dillinger, yeah.
I'm thinking Rick Derringer.
Right.
Is all I think of Rick Derringer. Come on and take a free ride. I was thinking, that's all I kept thinking of, Rick Derringer. It's like, it's not Rick Derringer, it's Dillinger.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are people that frequented this town all the time. On a regular basis came down here for the mineral waters and the bathhouses that were all here and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the elite people in Europe would travel over here to be able to get in the bath, in the mineral water.
Yeah, but we don't care about them. Gangsters are more
Gangsters?
cool.
They are
Gangsters are more cool. They're more cooler. But yeah, and so Martinsville's a really cool town. Really cool place to come check things out. Good destination ride. And of course, if it's a Monday, make it the first Monday of every month. You'll catch us at the Groggy Goat doing our live broadcast there. And that's something I've been recommending to everybody. Come on out, especially if you have a ride. Now, listen, this is going to be May. The first Monday in May, we're going to be there. If your ride's not till September or October, there's probably no reason for you to come and blast it.
Right.
But if you got something coming up in the month of May, or even the next month, Yeah, come on down, bring your flyers, pass your flyers out. If you got flyers, man, it's a perfect place to come pass them out. I recommend that to everybody, man. You find your bike nights, and you find a good bike night. Kitley Inn does a good bike night.
Yeah.
Go up there. If you got flyers to hand out, go to a bike night and hand them out. You know, we did them at Heavy's Bar and Grill for years, Steel Horse Thunder did. And we had a massive bike night.
Oh, yeah.
For years we had one there. And
that's a lot of fun.
I used to tell people all the time, man, if you got flyers, come up here and hand out the flyers, you know, or they'd contact us, hey, would you mind if we do this? I'm like, no, by all means, man. That's the whole purpose of this. We're all together, man. If you got a ride you got coming up, you want people to know about it, why not go to a bike night where you know everybody there rides? So it's just a good opportunity for everybody.
I know Kyler's so excited about it. It's the first Monday of each month is pretty much going to be a bike night. So.
It's awfully fun. It is. It's awfully fun to get with somebody that's excited and wants to do that. Because, again, this is a great place. You're right across the street from the courthouse. So, technically, you don't have any parking, technically. It's not like they have their own parking lot. But they're right on the corner, Main Street and Morgan Street. So, you got parking, you got parking spaces all up and down the road. You also have the courthouse right across the street on Saturday and Sundays. You know, sometimes they've had rides come through there where they actually blocked off the courthouse. Because there's parking right at the courthouse as well. And they block that off, and all the motorcycles can park right there. So if you have a poker run, you're a stop on a poker run, you're coming through. And you can let you let them know, hey, man, we're going to be at your place by 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're going to be leaving by 2 o'clock. Well, guess what? They're gonna reserve that parking spot. They'll hold that parking spot off until that ride comes through. Then when you leave, they'll open it up to the public, and everybody can start parking there like they normally would. It's just there's a lot of good upswing. The Rams ride went through there, and everybody parked at the courthouse, walked right across the street, went in. I know Kyler had pizza by the slice. They had all that kind of stuff. Had it already ready to go. So when you came in, you could buy it. Boom, boom, boom. People were able to eat. They were able to grab a beer or a soft drink or whatever they wanted to drink. You know, and then they were there for however long they were there. And then they left. And Kyler was like, "My God, it's the most chaotic time I ever had here, but it was the best time I ever had." He said that was fun. I want to do that more often. So you have a great place that's wanting to get involved with the motorcycle community.
Yeah, and Martinsville City is very, I wouldn't say easy, but they work with groups very well. They love being able, if you're coming in off of Blue Bluff or somewhere, they have no problem, if there's nothing big going on that day, to have a couple cops be able to escort you through the town to keep everybody safe, escort you to the courthouse. I know...
the police department, or the fire department is fantastic in Martinsville.
Yeah, if you're wanting to get the courthouse parking area, reserved for the ride, you got to make sure you contact the city officials. Yeah. But like I said, they've worked with so many different people that I know of to make sure rides go on smoothly. And even escorts, if you're coming through Martinsville, they're so good, and that's where the fire department comes in. Fantastic. Yeah. Because everybody, now we're fortunate. We have one of the fire guys. He was a captain of one of those things. I think he's assistant captain or whatever. But, lives close by, right, to the Steel Horse Center Cafe. Yeah. He's always, dude, just let me know if you got something coming on through here. Just let me know. We'll make sure you get through with no issues, with no hassles, and they do a great job down here. Yeah. It just doesn't want to stay lit, does it? Well, it's just burning bad. It's burning a little bad, so it's probably all this humidity and fluctuation with the temperatures and all that. It's the fluctuation is what causes most of your issues. If the cigar's a little dry, I'm okay with it. It's a little moist, I'm okay with it. It's when it goes from being a little moist, and then the next day it's going to be in a drier setting. Now it's in a wetter, a moist setting. It's that's where they kind of wreak havoc on it. That's why I like the Cooladors. They are so much easier to maintain than a regular humidor. Right. I mean, I know part of being into cigars is, doing the humidor, making sure you're taking care of everything, but I work 50 hours a week at work. Like, I don't always have time to be making sure humidors are all correct and going right. Like a coolador, you keep a couple Bavetta packs, you know, the big Bavetta packs in there, you know, a tub of water or whatever. Once you get it running, it takes about a month or two to get it to a stable point. But once you get that thing stable, you can pretty much just let it sit, and it does everything for you.
Yes. The only drawback to the cooladors is, you know, they are electric and they're digital. So when the power goes out,
yes,
when it comes back on, it's going to automatically reset instead of, like, you know, whatever you have your set at.
Yeah.
Generally, you know, 70/70 is what a lot of people go with. I like my cigars a little drier than that. So I use the 65% Boveda packs is what I usually use. But what will happen is I keep it set at, depending on what time of year it is, I try to keep it set to where, like, I don't want it too much cooler than what I keep the house, or too much warmer than what I keep that. You know what I mean? I try to keep it about the same.
Yeah.
So that way, but what happens is when my power goes out, one of my cooladors that I have, it automatically resets the air temperature, the temperature setting, to 58.
Dang.
Well, if it's 68 degrees in the house,
right,
and so my coolador, I usually set it, if it's 68 degrees in the wintertime, I usually set it to 69 or 70. And I keep it there, and it has a tendency to keep everything nice. But when it drops to 58, well, now all of a sudden it's kicked on that refrigeration to cool everything down. Well, that also dries everything out as well. And then when you have that massive cool down, then all of a sudden you look and like, well, shoot, the RH is only 48% inside this thing. That's the only drawback I have with the cooladors.
Yeah, the one I have, when it resets to 64.
That's how.
So I pretty much just keep it right there, so it never changes.
Change. The one out here is kind of the same way. It did, so it's never at that drastic.
Yeah.
The one in the
58,
house.
That's a bit low. That's a little weird that it drops it that low.
For the temperature.
Yeah.
Now again, my relative humidity.
Yeah.
I like it around 58.
Yeah.
Generally, I like to keep mine. Usually, I try to keep mine between 58 and about 63 is where I really like it.
Okay.
And I find it does that best if I keep 65% Bovedas. Now I've got 3 large Boveda packs in there that I do that with. So, and then I still use the tub that you can put water in.
Yeah.
I have a couple sponges in that, and I just let that. And as long as I do it, keep it like that, it'll usually stay around 58 to 60% in the winter. This time of year, it's obviously going to be a little bit more,
right?
Because now I'm probably running 64. I'll generally run right around 64 to 66 this time of year, which is fine because again, I grab a cigar and go outside, and now it's 80% humidity outside. If I'm keeping it at 58% in that humidor, I take it out.
Instantly soak all that moisture.
When I light it up, the wrappers start to blow up on you. And, like this right here, my band is very loose. I can slide it right off. Now what happens is you get that, and now you just change your relative humidity to 80% in the summertime. Next thing you know, before you're done with that thing is so tight it can't move at all. And you know darn well, as soon as I undo this, that's the only thing keeping my wrapper on that cigar together is that ring. Once I take that off, that's when you're going to get that poof, and it'll explode on you. Yeah, this one's just not burning very good.
That's weird.
And it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. You get some, and this is a higher end cigar right here. So it's a little more nerve-wracking when they're doing that.
Right.
It's like,
yeah, because I mean, this Whiskey Row, you can pretty much find them for like $8 to $10 anywhere per stick. Yeah,
they're more of an everyday type of cigar, but they're good.
Yeah,
they're fantastic good. I'll be honest, I'm usually disappointed with high-end cigars.
Yeah. I've never had one.
And I think it's just because when I call high end, if I'm paying $20 a cigar, $20 for a cigar, I expect it to burn perfect.
Right.
Taste fantastic, burn slow. But for me, it's one of those things where your $10 cigar versus your $50 cigar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that $50 cigar going to taste that much better?
Right.
I mean, you got to taste a lot better. If I'm going from $10 for a stick to $50.
To be willing to pay that much money, it better be very good.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's better, but I don't know
if it's that much better.
I had an Ashton ESG.
Yeah.
That I've been saving for, I don't know, well, since the beginning of the year. It was right after the first of the year. Mm-hmm. That's generally when the Opus X comes out, generally when the ESGs come out. Again, these are all Fuente cigars. They are, these are the personal best of Fuente. And so they harvest these fields, they all come out limited edition. They're not around. They come out one time a year. That's it. When they're gone, they're gone. You got to wait till next year before any more are going to come back out.
Right.
And we just happened to be in the cigar shop. I bought that ESG, and it turned out to be a $35 cigar. I about crapped my pants, but acted like it was no big deal because I wanted to act like a high roller. You and I both.
We both looked at each other as soon as you bought it, and he said the price. I was like, wait, what?
And then we both thought that he had rung both the cigars up. It was like, all right, $35 for both cigars, and realized, no, that was just for mine. No, Cameraman Wes is still going to pay for his cigar.
Yep.
And I just remember I was like, well, I got a 40th anniversary coming up. That's a big deal. I'll just put it back in the humidor and let it sit. And I lit that up on the day of my anniversary. We sat out here, and I lit that up, and again, my expectations were so high, I thought it's never going to live up to what I wanted to live up to.
Yeah.
On top of that, I smoke mostly Nicaraguan cigars.
Right.
The ESG is a Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And it is a Puro. So I mean that's the difference between the ESG and the BSG. The BSG is an Ecuadorian wrapper.
Okay.
Whereas the ESG, it's all everything was harvested from right there at the personal Fuente property, and so it's all it's all 100% Dominican.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this is going to be way too bland for me, way too mild for me. It was a fantastic cigar. Fantastic cigar. Now, was it that much better to go from most of my cigars that are going to cost me $10 to $12 as opposed to $35? That big of a difference? Was there, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, is it really worth $25 more? I don't know. It was close enough to where I was like, I don't know. This was a smooth, the smoothest cigar I've ever smoked.
Yeah.
The only thing it compares to is I had a buddy of mine, he had a couple Cuban cigars, and he let me have one of those, and I remember smoking it, and it was like, wow, I've never smoked a cigar like this ever before. And it was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And it reminded me a lot of that one. It was like, all right, this is about as close to Cuban as you're going to get right here. And so it really was. I mean, I want to buy another one now. I'll wait till the first of the year when they come out again. I will buy another one, put it in my humidor, and it will sit there until my 50th.
Yeah.
And then it'll have 9 more years of age on it. It's going to be fantastic. It'll be the smoothest cigar you will have ever smoked. But I just remember thinking, would I buy another one? Would I do it again? My answer was yes. I will do it again. Was it worth the hype? Yes, it lived up. It lived up to all the expectations I wanted. It burned perfect. It burned long. It took me, I'd say probably it was a good 2-hour cigar. Dang. Good 2 hours.
I don't think I've ever smoked a cigar that long.
Smoked it down to where I couldn't hold it anymore because it was too hot on my fingers. I mean, it was the fire was. There wasn't enough room for me to hold it and not have my fingers in the fire.
Dang.
But to me, that's what that's for a big celebration. And to me, 40 years of marriage is pretty big. Would I buy one of those just for my birthday? If I was just having, just push up. That should slide up or slide down. Slide down. Sorry.
tell I don't smoke that often.
Yeah, I would say if I was, my next big birthday, I guess, would be my 65th.
Yeah.
Maybe for something like that. Just for a birthday cigar or a end of the week cigar. You know, there's times on a Friday night I'm like, oh man, the work week's over. You know, and I'll get one of my more expensive cigars, and as opposed to just a middle of the week cigar or whatever. And on your birthday, you're going to have a special cigar for your birthday, or special cigar for a regular wedding anniversary.
Right.
I don't think to me, $35 for a cigar, it ain't worth it for just a regular old birthday. Big birthday, when I turn 65 or turn 70, you know, a milestone birthday,
right.
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
It's one of those, it's worth it if you're only doing it once or twice a year, paying that kind of price.
Yeah.
Or if every cigar you're buying is $35 or more, then you just have a lot of money.
But for the most part, I smoke some of these higher dollar cigars.
There we go.
And I'll be like, yeah, it was good, but
I could have bought 4.
I just sit and grab one of my Alec Bradley Magic Toasts for $12, and I would have enjoyed it just as much.
Yeah.
Or grab one of my CAO Brazilias for $8,
right,
and would have enjoyed it just as much. And that's the thing. It's like, all right, I don't want it to be as good as my $8 cigar. I want it to be,
better,
10 times better than that cigar. If I think this cigar is great, I should have an orgasm when I smoke this one. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't happen, but it was worth it.
Yeah,
it was worth it. And if I'm doing that, like you're saying, once or twice a year, if I'm doing it, I'm looking at, what am I? I'm 60. I'll be 64 this year. So it'd be another year from now. So it'll be 2 years later. I'm going to spend that kind of money again.
Right.
And then, a couple years later, I may do it again. Whatever, for your 40th birthday.
Yeah.
Shoot, yeah. That's what, 3 years from now?
Yeah.
So 3 years from now, you'll be 40 years old. Yes. I would light one of those up. I think you would enjoy that cigar.
Yeah.
I would buy one, and we would both smoke one. Because I really do. I think you would really enjoy that cigar.
Yeah.
But like I said, for milestone stuff.
Yeah.
Then you have other smaller milestones to me. You have milestones, you got yard stones. And then you got feet stones and inch stones.
Kidney stones.
Milestone. I'll spend $35 to $50 for a cigar.
Right.
Sure, for a milestone. But for a footstone or a yard stone, no. But I'll still buy, I might buy a $20 cigar.
Yeah.
I may go up there and buy, I'll buy a Padron 64 or something like that. Or even the Ashton, if you get their regular Connecticut, it's a lot more, I smoke their aged Maduros all the time. You can usually get those from $12, $15, something like that.
Yeah.
Those are a good cigar. And to me, those are the kind of quality cigars I buy. Sometimes it's not about the money, it's the quality. A good quality cigar, a My Father cigar.
Right.
I'll go and buy a My Father the Judge or the Les Gens Bleus, however you pronounce it. And to me, those are more of those kind of, it's my birthday. I'm turning 64, big deal. Well, it is a big deal. The Beatles sang about it.
Yes.
When I'm 64. So I guess it is kind of a big deal. But, those middle of the, you turn 37.
Yeah.
All right.
Still a birthday.
I'm going to buy, I'm going to smoke a cigar.
Right.
I'm not going to spend, $50 on it. Turning 40? Yeah. Now I might spend $50. That's just the way it works.
That's funny.
This cigar, flavor-wise, is fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is. I've had a lot of burn very well. A lot of burn issues with it, but flavor-wise, it is fantastic. And you do get that vanilla, especially it's paired well with the root beer. I have liked it with the root beer. I didn't know how it would go, but that vanilla taste along with the root beer on the finish, it's paired up pretty darn well.
I think mine would have been better with a regular root beer instead of a cream soda. I think the cream soda is just a tad bit too sweet, because this has more of a warm flavor with the bourbon or the whiskey and all that. So yeah, I think a root beer probably would have fit much better with the Diesel Whiskey Row.
So what else we got going on? I know we talked
Bourbon barrel aged. Yeah.
So we've hit on the whole Posse page, and, and that's something else. We got some stickers. We didn't care for the way they look. They're a little harder to read than we thought.
I redesigned or redid the look of it so it'd be brighter now.
So we'll get some new ones of those. But those are going to be the things that we're going to be handing out when we're out at rides, when we're out wherever we're at. Somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I'm part of the Patreon, or I'm part of the Posse
page.
I'm part of the Steel Horse Thunder Posse." If you're the Steel Horse Posse, then you're going to come up to us. Heck yeah! Here we got some stickers, helmet stickers, different stuff like that. But I'm thinking about maybe giving some of these out that we have now that we don't care as much for.
Yeah.
I may give some of those away just to use them. I mean, they're not bad. I've got them on my cooler.
Yeah, I mean, they still look good. They're just dark. Yeah, the new ones are brighter. We're going to have the logo, the Posse page logo at the top. That'll be a sticker to give out. Which I thought that was pretty cool. Like, we've got quite a few logos for stickers that I've designed that I thought, I was like, I've never designed anything like this before, and I thought a few of them came out pretty cool.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Especially if you watch any of the new episodes and watch the credits. That logo at in the credits. That one I was like, this one's really cool.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot. A lot. Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think of anything else going on right around this time of the year, May.
Got Memorial Day coming up.
Do have Memorial Weekend coming up. I mean, I was thinking, Run for the Sun. All your Christian bikers, they do their thing. Most of those have already happened. I think there'll be a few next weekend, only because we had so much iffy weather this past weekend. So you'll have a few of those going on.
Where did the Run for the Sun come from? Because you would think they would do more of them like around Easter weekend. Or is that the...
Well, 1st of May, that sometimes is kind of around that
Easter
time.
Fluctuates.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it was CMA that actually started that up or not. I'm not sure if they were the actual ones that started it, but I know it's big.
Oh yeah,
and they do it big. They do it. It's worldwide. It's kind of like the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. Yeah. It's going on, and that's why it's usually the same weekend. And they have supplied vehicles for missionaries, motorcycles for missionaries, and all that kind of stuff all over. I mean, they're all over the world. It's it's worldwide, not nationwide. It's worldwide. Pretty amazing. And I know that all took place. Again, we're here in Indiana, so obviously May is the month of May is always Indy 500 is what everybody thinks of around here. But yeah, you got Memorial Weekend coming up. I know we've done a few camping trips on Memorial Weekend that have turned out pretty darn good.
A lot of fun. Down the hollers of Kentucky.
So yeah, it's busy.
Might have to head down to Marengo. Do a camping trip down there.
Marengo Cave. That would be a fun trip. Go down there.
Get a couple cabins down there. It's a lot easier to sleep on a bed in a cabin than a sleeping bag on the ground in the tent.
It is. I can remember years ago, me and Cindy going up to Michigan.
Yeah.
We went up there to Muskegon for Muskegon Bike Time. Worked the event a couple years in a row. The first two events I worked it with Bubba Blackwell. He did a jump there 2 years in a row. And then I think it was the third year he wasn't there. Obviously they want to bring in new things.
Right.
So the third year, he was not doing a jump there, but I enjoyed the people and loved everybody up there. I got to meet a lot of people. Carl, the owner of Hot Rod Harley Davidson there, and just had a connection with him. And so I can remember Cindy and I went back up there. And at the time, we had a van that we camped out of. Put the bikes on a trailer, take the van, and then we had a nice bed in the van. It had, we had everything set up. It was a really nice setup, you know. And we had our easy up that would go up outside the van side doors, and the middle chairs, you take those out. And we have carpet down in there. We had our really nice cooler that we could keep in there, and we had it set up. It was a perfect setup and everything else. And then had it all ready to go. We're gonna go up to Muskegon for the bike time, and finally I'm like, man, you want to just do it old school? Let's do it old school. Old school is where, we're going to ride the motorcycles up there, and then you park the bikes a little ways away from each other. You have a tarp that you have in your saddlebag. You throw that tarp over the two, and you sleep under that tarp, and that's how you used to do it. That's how the cool kids did it back in the days. Let's do it old school. And Cindy, being the sport that she is, she's like, all right, we'll do that. She goes, but could we at least bring a tent? Instead of just sleeping under a tarp, can we at least be in a tent? I kind of like knowing that the bugs aren't crawling on. I was like, all right, yeah, we'll bring the tent. We set our tent up, and that first night we went to sleep, sleeping right on the ground and everything else. The next morning, she's like, you ready to get up? I said, I can't. My back was so messed up. Yeah. I couldn't get up. I hurt so freaking bad.
Yeah.
Horrible night's sleep. Couldn't get up the next morning. That was the first thing we did. We rode, because like when you're just on the motorcycles, like when we got to camp, you watch where you're camping at. It's like, all right, there was a convenience store down here. So you run to the convenience store. Cindy leaves her bike there, hops on the back of my bike. Yeah. So we can run to the convenience store so we can buy a styrofoam cooler, bags of ice, all that stuff. And then she holds all that crap as we go back. So now we got our cooler set up. So yeah, the next morning, first thing we did before we even went into, Steel Horse Alley that they have there in Muskegon, it was like, no, there's a Meijer store right around the corner. We're going there. And I went into the pool department, the summer department. I found the little, this rectangular
pool float.
Yeah. So we're getting two of these. They're only, $5 a piece, $3.99 or whatever. I was like, I got to have something between me and the ground. And I was fine the next night. Slept fine then. But yeah, it is nice. Like you said, it's nice to have a bed to get into.
Yes.
I kind of kicked myself. It's like, I would have much rather just drove the van, trailer the bikes up there. Because the van was ideal for sleep. It was perfect for camping. Perfect. Vanna White. We had Vanna White for a long time. So yeah, maybe we'll have to do a camping trip. Do a Marengo Cave. Sometimes it's hard on a holiday weekend only because everything's so full and so crowded. And that's why the places we were going to, the hippie camps, they weren't that crowded. No. And you still you didn't feel like you go to a state park. Oh, go to any state park in Indiana on Memorial Weekend.
Basically just going from your neighborhood to a neighborhood of tents. I mean, it's the same thing.
It's just one right after the other.
Yes.
Yeah. When you're sleeping and you can hear the people in the site next to you are so damn close you can hear them fart while they're sleeping. That's too close.
Yes.
Just too close.
Yeah. Yeah, the hip camp was pretty cool to go to different places like that. And like you said, I mean, the sites were so far apart from each other.
Yeah. Tons of privacy. Yeah. I mean, the one in Kentucky, that was a freaking riot. And we had our own place.
We had our own town of tents.
It was like almost a cove.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It'd be like if you're on a lake and you found this nice little cove you could get into, and you have 3 or 4, houseboats or pontoon boats all kind of link up together in a cove, and you kind of got your own space there. And it was kind of like that because it was all green bushes all the way around, and we had this nice big cove area that was just our group.
Yeah.
So you just had tent after tent after tent, and we had the main eating area, and we had Jimmy cooking the food all day, all night. Yeah, it was pretty fun. Pretty fun. The only difference is you don't have your nice fancy shower houses. You don't have. You're going to be using porta potties. You know what I mean? You don't. You don't have. I mean, my gosh, the one in Kentucky. I don't think there wasn't even really a shower there. Well, it was cold.
It was very cold. None of us showered because nobody sweat.
It was freezing cold. That's right.
One night got to like I think 38 degrees or something. Yes. It was like you turn your head on a pillow. It was like, oh, it's so cold.
Memory foam pillows and 38 degrees are not that good. They're pretty hard.
It's not a good mixture.
So yeah, I mean, we were all everyone was like, hell, I didn't even take a shower.
Yeah.
It's like I never broke a sweat. I never took a shower.
I think they had a gazebo that had a couple shower, like shower heads or whatever on it. So I mean, you're going to be, in shorts, bathing suit, or something like that to wash off, but. And they had a few porta potties. Again, it was cold, so it's not like they really stunk.
Exactly.
And there wasn't a whole lot of people there, so they weren't full.
They weren't nasty. You didn't have to go and wait in line like when you're at a big festival and you have to wait and stand there and these things are overflowing with joy.
Yes.
Yeah, camping might be fun. It might be something fun to do this time. What else? You got anything else going on?
I don't think so. Just working.
All right. Well, I hope everybody. I hope you have a good Memorial weekend. That's just coming up here not too long from now, and if you get a chance, get on the Facebook page, and you can check out the Steel Horse Thunder Posse. Go to Steel Horse Thunder. Hit the subscribe button. It'll take you to the Steel Horse Thunder Posse. And then you can take a look at it. And if you want to become part of the Posse, just click on that. It's $4.99 a month. You can cancel anytime you want.
Yep.
But check it out. And then again on Mondays, first Monday of every month, we'll be at the Groggy Goat Taproom. It's there with Greek's Pizzeria in Martinsville on the northwest side of the square in Martinsville, Indiana. We look forward to seeing everybody out there. That's been it was a riot. Our first time around was an absolute riot. Packed the place out. So come on out and be part of it, and do a lot of. You're gonna laugh a lot and have a good time. So I guess I'll give a shout out to Badass Beard Care. Once again for sponsoring our podcast, and then our normal sponsors, Ladendorf, Fregiato, and Bigler, personal injury lawyers in Indianapolis. You got Krambo's custom. He's a custom painter, custom builder, but he's got Harley mechanics there, state of the art facility, great swag. They got all sorts of cool stuff. We also have Indiana Custom Motorcycle in Martinsville, Indiana. That does fantastic work. They work on all models, not just Harleys. They work on everything. If you got a Honda, they work on it. If you got a Kawasaki, they work on it. If you got a Harley, they work on that too. Indians, it doesn't matter. They work on it all out there. And then the Groggy Goat Taproom, of course. So hopefully we'll see you guys out there on one of those Monday nights, first Monday of every month. Hopefully we'll see you out there at the Groggy Goat. Have a great month of May. Enjoy your Memorial weekend. Cameraman Wes, thank you for sitting down and let me enjoy this cigar.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It has been fun. We'll see you next time.
See ya.